You guys have heard, before we get to a bunch of questions, and we will do quite a few today if we've got time, you have heard a lot of rumors about Diana Orbani, a.k.a. Lady Di. And I've been putting you off on Twitter because I didn't have permission to talk about her condition, but I do now. And even better than that, I had an opportunity to interview her son recently to set the record straight. And here's that interview. I'm on the phone today with Peter, who is the son of Diana Orbani, also known as Lady Di. And Peter, thanks for being on the show today, man.
Thank you for having me.
So there've been a lot of rumors and, just speculation and all kinds of things about your mom's condition. And she called into Opie and Jimmy recently and seemed a little disoriented. And I know, look, a lot of people are concerned about your mom. A lot of people gave her a hard time when she was drinking, but she is no longer drinking, and she's in a bad position. So, the time for giving her a hard time is over. We're just concerned. How is she doing? What's going on? What can you tell us about her condition?
Well, to start, I don't think she's doing that well. She's really getting that much better anyway, for the most part. She's pretty much the same way that she went into the hospital with. She's losing her mind. She thinks she's 20 years into the past. She still thinks that she's married to her ex-husband Freddie, and sometimes when I call her, sometimes she thinks I'm her brother Bobby. So right now, her doctor also mentioned to me before that her brain is actually physically shrinking.
Yes.
Okay, she's losing all her healthy tissue, and it's just not good, not healthy.
Yeah, there are various types of dementia even that are associated with chronic alcoholism. And one of those is Korsakoff syndrome. I wonder if they mentioned that to you. It's a chronic memory disorder caused by severe deficiency of thiamine, which is vitamin B1, and it's usually caused by alcohol abuse. And certainly sounds like she may be suffering from that. Have they mentioned that to you at all?
They haven't. The only thing they mentioned to me was that her brain is actually physically shrinking, and she's in the past mentally. She's not where she should be right now. She's right now living sort of in a nursing home at the moment. She had to move her. They had to get rid of her apartment because the nursing home is going to be taking a pretty big portion of her money.
Yeah.
That she gets from Social Security. So
right.
But yeah, no, they didn't mention to me anything about the types of dementia. They just mentioned to me that it's dementia, and they did mention also to me that she could take vitamin C,
right,
but it would have little to no effect, pretty much.
Well, they should give it to her anyway.
Very little, if anything.
In my opinion, they should give it to her anyway because there's no harm in a B vitamin. But
right.
They'll usually
getting a multivitamin.
Okay. And I mean, sometimes people will recover from this. It just depends on, well, I say recover. Sometimes they'll get better. And there's a thing called Wernicke's encephalopathy that's associated with Korsakoff syndrome. And we also, all of these things, when someone comes in with altered mental status to the emergency room and they're known alcohol abusers, we will usually replace thiamine immediately, and also other vitamins as well. So, only time will tell. That's one of those things. Statistics are the only crystal ball that we have, but as you know, statistics don't apply to the individual. So we'll just have to see. And over the next probably 6 months, we'll sort of know what you're stuck with.
Right. Well, even like with drug use, that sometimes drug use can cause someone to lose their mind and not have that person like not know what day it is or that kind of thing. But eventually they recover because the body has a way of just sort of healing its own self, so to speak.
Yep.
But yeah, she's right now just like way out there, and
okay,
the conversations are just like
Yeah.
not good, you know.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. There's at least 16, almost 17 million adults ages 18 and older that have an alcohol use disorder in this country. It's a very common disorder. And, are there other people in your family? I mean, of course, you're the adult child of an alcoholic, so you have some risk for other things as well, including, depression and anxiety and those kinds of things. How has this whole thing affected you? And obviously, hearing your mom on the radio and having people on Twitter, just absolutely trashing her at times, particularly there at the end, it can't be easy for a child to see.
No, it's not. And it's very stressful because every day I'm dealing with a person from my family calling me to ask about my mom and this and that. And it's just at a point where it's like there's so much pressure to do this, get the nurses to do this and do that, talk to this person, talk to that person. There's a lot of pressure, and there is also a lot of anxiety. And it also does, like you said, get very depressing because this is the mom that I grew up with back in the 90s who used to take me to Yankee games and do all kinds of, all that kind of good stuff, as a mom should do, But I tell you, it's just so hard because for so many years, people around her have been trying to get her to quit drinking, and she just refuses to do it.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Well, she and I talked.
It's very.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And it's very flat out depressing, basically. And even at work, like sometimes on my job, I go to work. I try to get away from that and just focus on my job. But even on occasion, my job will ask me, how's my mom doing? And it's just so hard.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, she and I talked multiple times, and we tried, soft love. We tried tough love. And I know that she would not have chosen where she is now. And the fact that so many people were telling her to change her behavior, and yet what it looks like is she refused to change, just tells me that she wasn't capable of it. That disease had such a strong hold on her that she, and that's the definition of an addiction, is when you use a substance beyond the point of harm. And she was far beyond the point of harm and still didn't do it. And
oh yeah.
And it just, that tells me, I mean, no one would have chosen this path. She was just in the grips of something, and that she just was felt incapable of escaping from that railroad track, that she was on. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it is hard. Quitting addiction is hard itself. So
sure. Well, I've only ever been addicted to cigarettes, and that was hard enough. And she feared the withdrawal.
That's a serious stronghold.
She feared withdrawal because, alcohol withdrawal can be fatal, and it's certainly very uncomfortable. And for her, at least what she told me was that it was just easier to just keep drinking than to even think about going through that. She was terrified of it. And it's frightening that something could be that powerful that you'd be more afraid of getting better than you would of continuing the behavior. But anyway, well, is there anything that you want to say about all of this, just in general, either to the fans or just how this has affected you, or is there anything we can do for her at this point? We were raising money for her, and we raised money to keep her off the streets, either last Christmas or the Christmas before. I can't remember when. But we told her if she didn't stop drinking that there would be no more help forthcoming. We just couldn't do it. That was the tough love part. And that still wasn't enough. But I think our listeners, if she needed some money or if there's something that she needs, I think our listeners would jump to that in a second, given the situation now, because your mom really was pretty universally loved. She was, she caught a lot of hell for her denial of her disease state, but most of the people I talk to really do care about her and don't want her harmed in any way.
True. I do want to mention also the pills that she's taking.
Okay.
She's taking Synthroid. I think that's how it's
Synthroid?
pronounced. Yeah.
Okay, that's a thyroid. That's for low thyroid.
That's a thyroid pill.
Yep.
She's taking Lasix, which is a water pill.
Yep.
I think this is Novus from Norvasc.
Oh, Norvasc. Yeah, that's an antihypertensive. Yeah, that's a calcium channel blocker.
Yeah. She's also taking folic acid.
Folic acid.
Multivitamin.
Yeah.
Yeah, folic acid, yeah. A multivitamin. Where? I tell you, these doctors' names are just unbelievable. Right? I have the list here, and it's like Risperdal?
Risperdal, that's an antipsychotic.
Yeah.
That's for agitation.
And, for schizophrenia. Bipolar disorder.
That's one use for it, but
and,
just for agitation in general, when you've got someone who has delirium and they're talking crazy or they're getting agitated or combative, they'll give them Risperdal. So it's not just for schizophrenia.
Right. Well, that's what I found on the internet. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's one called Lactulose.
Say it again. Lactulose.
Lactulose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if they're giving her lactulose, that implies, without knowing anything else, that there is some liver damage, because we use lactulose to get rid of nitrogen in the body. So basically, nitrogen is fixed in the bowels, and then if you use lactulose to sweep it out, then it doesn't get reabsorbed into the bloodstream. And increased nitrogen will cause people to be more confused. So there may be some cirrhosis. We always suspected that, with the level of drinking that she was doing. Be surprised if she didn't have some cirrhosis. So, but I'm not saying that's what they're doing. It may be that it's just a cheap way for them to keep her from being constipated, because that's the other side effect, is it gives you kind of watery diarrhea. But the fact that she's on that implies that someone at least thought that she's got some cirrhosis going on.
Yeah. Well, she's also been asking for laxatives, especially after she eats.
Okay.
After she eats, she kind of wants to take a dump, and she ends up not doing it.
Yeah.
But also, what happened one time when I visited her was that she took a laxative, and she was trying to go to the bathroom soon after, and we kept on telling her, no, this does not work like that. It doesn't work 2 minutes after you actually take it. You have to give it time.
Right. Yeah. The lactulose, so they may be killing two birds with one stone with that. If she's been complaining of constipation, they think, with her level of drinking, she may have some cirrhosis, even if her ammonia level isn't elevated. They'll just use lactulose in a situation like that. And it does give you sort of a watery diarrhea. You try to time it or give a dose so that a patient has 2 or 3 loose stools a day. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I went off on a monologue while I was in the middle of asking you a question, which is just a sign of a terrible interviewer. And so, is there anything that she needs? Is there anything that our listeners can do for her at this point?
Right now, I don't think there's really much of anything at this point. Just pretty much pray for her that she gets better. That's what I'm going to say. Okay.
Well, that's free. So we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Is there anything that you would like to say to everybody out there, or just in general about alcoholism or how this has affected you, or anything at all before we go?
Well, I will say that alcoholism does not just affect the person drinking the alcohol. It affects an entire family, especially if it's an alcoholism where you're constantly drinking and you're drinking to get drunk or whatever. I mean, if you're out at a bar and you have a couple beers while watching the game, I guess that's okay because you're not getting drunk per se. But alcoholism is just dangerous. It affects the person negatively. It affects the entire family negatively, and it's not like if you don't drink, don't ever start. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, man.
Just don't start drinking.
There's a website I would like for you to go to that may help you if you haven't already gone there. Okay? It's www.adultchildren.org. And this is a website that is dedicated to helping adult children of alcoholics all over the world. And there's a link on there called The Laundry List. And take a look at that and see if any of it applies to you. If it does, there is help out there for you, too, because you're right. It doesn't just affect the person. It affects everyone around them, and sometimes in ways that are subtle and unknown to them until it's revealed to them. So take a look at that. It's adultchildren.org. All right, man?
Adultchildren.org.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Peter. Thank you so much.
All right. No problem.
All right. Take care. All right, so that's Peter, and I appreciate him hanging out with us and giving us an update on Lady Di. And I asked him if she needs anything. Do we need to raise money for her for anything? Because of course, we stopped raising money for her because we didn't want to enable her lifestyle. But now she's in a completely different situation, and if she needed anything, I know our listeners would step up to the plate and help her. But in fact, her check is covering her stay, her room and board at the nursing home, and she really doesn't need anything right now. But if she does in the future, we'll let you know. Hopefully she'll recover to some extent. I don't know. There's just no way to know. But anyway, we were always on our podcast, she would call in, and we had to ban her from the show, and it seemed mean, except that we were just doing tough love in the sense that when you decide to make one positive step to make your life better, we'll let you back on the air. And now she's, this is what we were afraid of would happen, is something catastrophic would happen. She'd end up in the hospital and then end up in a nursing home or worse in the morgue. And but she is alive. I can't say alive and well. She is alive and maybe recovering to a certain extent. So only time will tell. Anyway, that's where we are. Let's answer some medical questions.